Hello, I'm Candace, and today we are ranking our clones. I've decided to bring the Waffles I know who are as obsessed with clones, or even more so than I am. So I have Hope. Hey, Hope.
Hello.
Hey, Hannah.
Hello.
This is the official Waffle clone list. So all three of us have to agree on the ranking. However, we each get a domino card that can be used once during this that can overrule the other two. So if we completely disagree with what the other two are saying, we're like, nope, I stan this clone or I hate this clone. You can choose, but only once. Domino Squad. In honor of the Domino Squad, it's a domino card.
I'm going to hold up my domino card, which happens to be my Target gift card. I disagree
so that had Pete the card.
I disagree that Boba Fett's not on this list.
Okay. So already our first disagreement. Yes, Boba technically is a clone.
He is a clone. He's also in Clone Wars. He is with the other cadets. It's a whole thing of him pushing away his cloneness and not claiming it, which comes back in Mandalorian season 2 when Bo-Katan's Bo-Katan's like, hey, clone. Why is Boba not? He's the most important clone outside of Rex. Why is he not here?
I forgot.
So just pretend that Boba's up in S tier. Just take your mouse and kind of circle that.
Yeah, we can all immediately agree on that one.
Wow, we agreed on the first one. I'm so proud.
I would place Boba personally at an A, but I can't deny his stay power of Star Wars, and he is the OG clone from ever, because he's the only clone in the original trilogy.
That's true.
Technically, Rex might be, but that's a canon, the old guy in Return of the Jedi.
Technically, Kix too, because Kix survived the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, so he's somewhere in the crowd, but
the first real clone that we see in Attack of the Clone that is named is Boba, and he's really on this list.
You're right. Okay, so the rank is S for we stand, which means 110%. We love this character, even if they're good or bad. Just we think they're amazing. Hope wanted to make sure we added. Also, we have to add the hotness level too. Just on
That's very important.
They all might look alike, but damn.
No, they're not all alike.
No, they are
similar, but not.
Yeah, similar, but not completely. A is for amazing Attica, because that's a Mandalorian term for saying son or daughter, and that's the only A word I could figure out that was positive in Star Wars. B is for Bomba clone, so that's our average. Still great, but not as great. C is Clanker bait. Then D is dank fair clone. These are the bottom of the list.
I have no D's. This is gonna be fun.
You have no D's?
I have no D's.
That sounds like a
really?
Because the thing about this, we were kind of chatting about this, and because there are clones that I personally love, but I can argue that they're not important to the narrative, which are two very different ways of grading these.
Okay.
And that's where
that's one. I think
why?
One.
Says who?
I don't.
It's not ranking. Why? Throw Rex down there and cause the internet to explode. I'm kidding. Rex is. I'm kidding. No, Rex is.
I was saving my domino card, but I will smack down over that one.
No, I'm joking.
Rex.
Oh my God. There's a reason there's a Rex tattoo on my ankle.
Okay, so wait, is that just all of us going right now? Rex is S, right?
It's just straight up Stan.
He's one of the the three main characters of Clone Wars. There's a reason that it's his arc is part of season 7 because it's him and Ahsoka. There's a reason he's the one that comes back in Rebels, and he's the one that's been retconned into the original trilogy. Rex, his staying power. Yeah, he is the main character. Even if you don't like Rex from a narrative perspective, he is probably the most important clone outside of Boba.
Definitely, 100% agree. I love his relationship with Ahsoka. I love their survivor, they survive together, and how they're old timers and rebels, even though they're both in their 30s. They're these old warriors.
I also like how they separated his story from Ahsoka's in its own way. There are things that Rex has experienced throughout the war and the Clone Wars that Ahsoka can't relate to, just by virtue of her being Jedi and him being clone. And I think it's the Clone Wars novelization, one by Karen Travis, which I can't remember if it's Legends now or not. Somebody correct me about that.
I think they're
I think
Legends
they're all-
now.
yeah,
I
they're
think
all
it's I thought it was Legends now, but the fact that like you get some of that perspective from him so early on within the story before you even really knew them as the individuals that we now see them as, I think it's just so important. It's like, okay, this is a character to pay attention to that is going to become so important. And I don't know, and I'm going to speak for myself on this one. I think initially when I started watching, I didn't realize how important he was going to become. But like as the seasons progressed, you're like, okay.
Oh, me either. Yeah. When he
Yeah.
started out, you're like, okay, he's a clone.
With some
But then
cool armor.
The first movie, you see him fight against Ventress's mind attack, and you're like, there's something
Yeah.
special about this guy. He's able to like ward Anakin, even if it's by calling him by his first name. Anakin knew what was up. Just that gifts to Ahsoka, like in my experience outranks everything.
Like the biggest piece of Rex's story that I still personally want is when he found out that Anakin was Vader, and if he ever found out. Like that's the story that I still really want to see on screen.
I
So
think
Bad Batch season 2 for that.
I think he realized after Ahsoka didn't come back in season 2 of Rebels.
I think he knew then.
It's probably the one we need to justify the least.
He's going to disagree with us. If you disagree with us, we will fight you.
And this is
yeah.
official ranking, everybody. You can't disagree, but you
Yeah.
can in the
this
comments.
is official Waffle ranking. I hope none of the other Waffles are like watching this and being like, I disagree.
Like,
Okay. So let's go in ABC order. 99. 99 is a clone that he was close to our hearts, I think, right? He just wanted to help his brother so much.
I have two thoughts on 99. There's my personal thoughts and also how much does he impact the narrative. And those are split thoughts. Because I personally love 99. I would put him at, like, if this was me ranking it myself, I would put him in an A tier. I think overall narrative, I would put him in a B tier because he does help out Fives and Echo, who both become very important characters later on. But he's only in one arc. And so
2 arcs.
He's only in 2 arcs. But he doesn't like really impact like the bigger story of everything. So my personal feelings is A, narrative-wise, I'm in B. So I'm torn between those two.
What do you say, though? Did he inspire the Bad Batch?
that's what I was going to say. There's something
Close
there
one.
with that. I'm hoping we get to explore a little bit of their early years in season 2 and maybe see 99 again. That's been a hope of mine since they announced what they were.
And that's a good point to bring up because we're doing this the Wednesday before season 2 of Bad Batches coming out. But for all we know, like Tech and Wrecker and Echo could have massive story character arcs that could change our entire ranking, but we don't know it at this point. So that's why it's so hard to rank this at the moment.
Yeah.
This is our pre-Bad Batch season 2. I think the only one we know for sure that isn't changing is Rex. Rex is
Olive.
Faye. Rex.
Yeah.
and
For
Olive.
all we know, like Omega becomes like the Emperor. I'm joking.
She's actually a Palpatine clone.
Yeah, I'm
She was
joking.
Snoke. Okay,
So-
so we're between A and B, I think, for 99.
For me, what about you guys?
I think A, just because of the impact he has on Echo and Five, and just how much Echo and Fives are important to the whole galaxy, really,
I
as
would.
well as just Bad Batch.
He
Yeah.
also is probably one of my like top 3 clone deaths, with like the other like 2 or the other 2 or 3 being on this list as well. Like he has like my top like 3 or 4 clone deaths because it's so
Okay.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So A,
I
Yeah.
agree with
Definitely agree. I agree with everything everyone's saying. So 99.
Okay. Bly, which is that how you say it? Bly?
Commander Bly.
Commander Bly. I don't feel like we get to know him that much.
Yeah.
He's great in fan fiction because him and like Ayla Sakura's fan
Yeah.
fiction is great.
Spicy. So good.
It's even
so
though it's
spicy.
canon, even though it's canon that she's with Kit Fisto.
No, she's
No, she was his Padawan, right?
No,
She
she
was
was
with,
with boss's pet.
Boss, yeah.
No, it's canon that like her and Kit Fisto are a thing.
oh, I thought it was the other way around. I don't know. I don't read Legends. I'm a
shit,
bad
okay.
Star Wars fan.
It's okay.
It's fine. I don't
There's a
care.
lot to
people,
check out,
weird.
it's
people will
fine.
yell at me in the comments and I won't read them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the one arc he's really in that we see him even speak is the one where Anakin gets hurt.
The
and
Lerman
he's-
arc.
And the lemurs.
Yes.
Yeah, in the Lerman arc. And he's
Lerman
hot for
arc.
that. And like
He
she
is.
saves him. Like Isla's like swings down there and like picks him up and like swings and like the romantic music plays and he's like, "Thanks, General." And she's like, "You're welcome. I'll share a tent with you later." And he's like, "All right." Like
It's reading too much fanfic.
The
fanfic
fanfic just came in right there. It's like reverse
Yeah, I
Tarzan
I
and
was like,
Jane.
I don't remember this.
again, like there's like my personal feelings versus the narrative. And if we're just going just by the narrative, I'd put him no lower than a C. I
Yeah.
can't classify him as a B. Because
Yeah, I
he's
see.
yeah.
Okay, I agree. Okay, we have Boyle next. Boyle, who is part of the 212.
I feel Waxer and Boyle need to be together.
Yeah, we'll do those two
Okay.
together.
But I do
Yeah.
think that they're on different ranks.
Okay.
Oh,
I
interesting.
know.
Okay. So, which one was killed during Umbar?
That was Waxer.
Yeah.
Okay, that was
And-
like very that
Sad.
that whole arc messed me up. I was
Oh,
like,
God.
"Is this a kid show?"
This, I was like, oh, we just got real dark here.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! And that just goes back to Rex being an amazing character.
Oh yeah, that was like the first like arc where I'm like, you saw the clones like as individuals, like truly, and you're like, I can tell like which clone it is and like who's who and what's going on, and you just felt for them because you truly realized like what this war was doing to them.
I low key disagree with that because I feel that
I'm gonna fight you. Okay, no, I'm just
I
kidding.
feel that with the Slick arc because Slick in
Oh.
season 1 was the first time.
That was
that-
that one.
Yeah, that was the first time in the entire show where they were like, maybe we are cannon fodder, but let's ignore it for 3 more seasons because baloney.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had a little bit of that with Cut showing up too. With
Yeah,
Rex.
it's season 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
Is that
But-
Rex is like there's
yeah.
more, and also like what family means. Boyle and Waxer have a really great arc with Numa, a little Twilight girl that they find, and at first they're like, "What do we do with this kid?" And it just shows them as more human, their humanity. And we see Numa in Rebels
She has their
That's the armor.
insignia on them.
exactly.
Yeah.
So what they did, even though it was a very brief time they were together, they obviously had an impact on her. And I think that's important.
My feelings is because Boyle is the one that I would actually put at a lower ranking, not by much. Like because he's the one that really, I think he's the one that hugs her the first time. And
No, that's Waxer.
it was Maxer.
Yeah,
Waxer-
Waxer
Oh,
attached onto her faster than Boyle.
Yeah.
It took Boyle
Like-
like the whole thing.
But that's the thing. Like he had the bigger single character
Story
arc, but Waxer is the one that came back to have the tragic death because he has Numa's face on his helmet. Yeah, and so I would put Boyle at a B and Waxer at an A because the difference is that Waxer had the incredibly tragic death and is the one that like Rex had to face that realized like, oh my goodness, like everything's going down on Umbara. But I could also argue putting both of them together for different reasons as well. Like
Yeah. I almost want to put them both at a B. Like, I agree with what you're
Yeah.
saying about like the Waxer and Boyle thing, but like,
The thing
Yeah.
is,
I can see them both together as well too.
yeah.
is it's impactful, but it honestly could have been any clone for it to affect Rex. So I think, both of them at B. Is that okay?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the only reason
It's-
that Waxer's death is so tragic is because of everything that happened with Numa and like her
Yeah,
face
because
is like
we knew that
smiling on his
story,
hand.
yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we knew that story behind it. Like, it was more for an audience effect than it really was. Because, like Candace said, it could be any clone that would have been like, oh crap, this is happening.
Killed my brother.
Like, yeah. But
Okay, Cody, Commander Cody time.
he's going to be the one I feel like my opinion is going to change because of season
Yes.
2.
Yeah.
Like, he is gearing up to be incredibly important, I think, especially for Crosshair's
know him.
story.
I feel like we don't know him that well.
Okay, I'm glad that's not a hot take because like my hot
we
take is
don't.
I'm not
No,
a
we
Commander
don't.
Cody stan, but I know people.
He's
people
very
who
popular in the
love him.
fandom.
Oh, yeah.
That's because of the way he's written in fan fiction, which is amazing. He shipped a lot with Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like one of the most popular, I think, Obi-Wan ships on our
yeah.
of our own. And there's a lot of talented people who do fan art, fan baids, everything. But I think what makes him so popular is everyone's like fandom opinion about him, his potential, not what we actually see in
But-
Clone Wars or even in Revenge of the Sith, because he's in Revenge of the Sith.
I slightly disagree with that because, like, my thing about him is not when he is with Obi-Wan, but you can really see who Cody is when he's with Rex. Because Rex takes after Anakin so much, and Cody takes after Obi-Wan. So if you look like an episode like Rookies, Rex is the one that's like a little bit more wild, while Cody's like the one that's reeling it in. But that doesn't mean that Cody is not like, yeah, let's go like dive after a snail, whatever. It'll be fine. So I would tentatively, and I know I'm going to have so many people yelling at me because I know Cody's so popular, but
I think us three are like in the minority on the Cody.
We are
now.
I feel like we are going to we want to put this disclaimer out there. We probably will rank him higher after season 2 because I feel like we're going to get more of him. But I do really like that scene in Rookies where Rex is like, I'm going to pretend to be a droid. And Cody's like, oh no.
But narratively speaking, he is important because he's the one that like goes after Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. He's the one that helped he's the one the Bad Batch knew to them to Rex to save Echo. Like narratively speaking, I would put him at an A. Not my personal favorite, but as like a narrative thing, especially since we know he's going to probably have a big place to there's so many few movie clones. When we're talking about movie clones that just the general audience knows, it's like Boba and Cody because they're the faces of it. And I think, no, I was about to say a thing and that's not true. But I would put him as an A, not for personal feelings, but like importance in the narrative.
I agree. Hannah, how are you feeling?
I was gonna put him lower.
Really?
I was gonna put him like a B just to give him like room to get up a little bit higher, just in case he really shits the plot and Bad Batch. And I'm like, that's crap.
Okay, so I say,
I'd be good with either. So I'm not gonna argue either way. But like, I was gonna put him a little bit lower just to give him room. But if we want to put him in it, we can.
I think I'm going more A because, like Hope
I'm
said,
cool with that.
His relationship with Rex is very interesting, and
it's very big brother, little brother energy.
Yeah, and I can't deny his importance in the movie because
he's very important.
Yeah,
I loved in the Star Wars Lego the summer vacation and Obi-Wan's hut. There's a photo of him and Cody, and it's hung up in a frame, and I'm like, the Obi-Wan Cody shippers are winning today, and I'm so happy
really
for
are.
them.
Yeah.
Okay, Crosshair.
I love Crosshair.
I know.
I love Crosshair.
I know.
I do not like him as a person, but as a character,
he's so complicated.
He's probably he's the best written character of the show.
Oh, hands down.
As of season 1.
He's so complicated and has so much potential in a story.
Yes, I can't wait to see what happens in season 2. I was really worried that maybe maybe they're done with this story. I'm so glad we're going to continue and have him with Cody.
I just want to know who picks him up from Camino. Like, that's the shit I want to know.
When he gets in,
stay for hours.
I just want to know what happens when he gets back because
I know
the lady like in his team like went to Rampart and was like, yeah, he killed everybody else, and then like he still goes back after they left him for dead. Like I'm wanting to know like why is that? What's gonna happen? What's that fallout like?
And now Camino's gone.
I would actually rank Crosshair above all of the other Bad Batch members outside of Omega. Like I would put him for sure in an S tier.
I would put him at an A right now because I feel like he has a lot of potential. He's not quite Rex story level yet.
But he has the potential to be there.
So I think, you know what? After Batch Season 2, let's come back and look at this ranking.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if it changes at all.
I would give that to an A. Yeah, I get into that. I could see that.
Yeah, he's going to be one of those storylines between his storyline and Omega's that I'm just so honed in on him. Like any episode that they're showing up in, I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm ready to be heard.
Looking at the rest of the list, like writing wise, I would put him like in an S, but personally, like I would put Echo at my S because I love that.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, he's a personal
let's talk about Echo. Echo is.
Do I just want to go ahead and do all the batch? I just wrote an article over on Dork Side of the Force about why he's the dark horse of the most important character of the season. And one of the people who worked on Bad Batch was like, I can't tell you about this because it's spoilers, which tells me that I'm right.
No,
And
love-
Jennifer Corbett has specifically said in interviews that they will be exploring what it means for Rex and Echo to be regular clones versus the Batch. Even outside of that Batch, Echo has such a big role. He's one of the very first clones that we get in season 1. One of the mainstays all the way through from season 1 to season 7. Not all the clones go from season 1 to season 7. And he's one of the ones. And he's the last standing member of the Domino Squad. Echo is an S tier for sure.
The Citadel episode where we think he's died.
I cried.
That was an epic arc, and it hurt a lot.
It was Five's reaction to his death that I was like,
7, Rex looking at the photo of him.
it's so much.
I love them.
You're just sitting
All
there
the Dominoes.
oh, I miss them all so much.
What a horrifically mean but smart name, because they're dominoes and they all fall one by one.
Stop it. I've
What
thought
a
about
good
that analogy for days.
Whoever whoever showed up to work was just I think we should name them the Domino Squad. They're probably good job, Steve. You did good today.
They were the Disaster Squad before. For going through Bad Batch, it's Hunter time. I don't have any strong opinions about him.
I have so many opinions on Hunter, but not as many as Crosshair and Echo.
What?
I think he's so hot. That's so shallow. Sorry.
I have issues with Hunter's writing, but a lot of that is I have issues with the writing of season 1 in general. And so you have 13 episodes in the middle of Hunter just waffling about I don't know what we should do. And then they magically get to the finale and Hunter's I had this experience with #hot Hauser, and therefore I am a changed man, and we must protect the clones. And meanwhile, Echo's screaming in the background going, I said that the entire time. Why are you getting the character arc? And
I'm so glad in season 2 trailer, it has Echo being we should do more. That's Echo. That's our Echo.
So, out of all of the Batch, Hunter has had a very clear character arc. I has had a murky character arc. I shouldn't even say clear. But he's the only one so far as of season 1 who's had a character arc. Is it well executed? No. Not even a little bit. It's not well executed at all. But out of all of them, I would put him at an A because he's the only one that's developed as of season 1.
I put him at a B because I feel
see,
obviously he wanted to do, but I don't feel they earned it. He's supposed to be this father figure to Mega, but I don't feel
no, Echo's the father figure.
Yeah.
Echo's her parent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Echo's the only responsible one on that five of the five.
Echo's the parent and Hunter's the brother.
Yeah, and then Wrecker's the fun parent or the aunt or uncle who takes you to
no, he's the fun brother. They're all, and then the reason I don't want to put because out of all of this, I actually love Tech more. Tech's my favorite of the Batch, and I like him more than I like Hunter. If we're talking about personal likes, then I'm gonna throw Tech way up higher than Hunter. If we're talking about the narrative, I'm gonna throw Hunter higher because of just how he's functioned in the story.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think Hunter's kind of our introduction or our guide to the Batch, as their leader, the sense for everybody else through him and how he experiences things. But I do agree with Hope on the whole whistle waffle kind of thing, which is funny considering we're geeky waffle. Anyways, sorry, waffles. But the whole waffling thing, especially during season 1, but I'll argue with the fact that they were kind of the spoiled children of the clones. Clone Force 99 got to do whatever they wanted, and then their whole world implodes, and they're oh crap, what do we do now? We don't have
real jobs.
We have to get exactly. It was the spoiled rich kids. They're we have to get real jobs. How do we do this? And that goes oh God, okay, hold on. Let me help you with this. So I will give props to Hunter's arc, for as murky as it may be, for him trying and making an effort to figure out this new world in order. And I'm hoping there's a little bit more of a solidified decisiveness to him come season 2, because they've been doing jobs for Sid, because they've been living in this new empire regime for so long. Or I don't know how much time is going to pass between season 1 to 2. I don't know if anybody's said that, like a couple months or
I
something.
think it's a few months. There's a time gap.
Yeah.
Omega looks older. Like,
Yeah, she does, which is what I was trying to base it. I was like, okay, she looks older.
but they might have
Yeah.
aged her just from season 1 to season 2. It is animation.
Yeah.
Like, so if it's been a year between season 1.
Yeah, but
No,
I put Hunter at an A.
Okay, here's my proposition. Wait, got a proposition for you.
Oh boy.
Put him back.
Now, for like
The thing
personal
backward
feeling,
help
do
me.
you guys personally like Tech and Rucker more, like as personal feelings?
Yeah, I like them both a lot more than Hunter. I feel like I have a better idea of their character than who Hunter is.
I'm gonna be the minority in here and say no. I like Hunter better than both of them, but I'm very
Is it
biased.
because he's hot, Hannah?
No, I literally written like a 33 chapter fan fiction about this.
So here's my proposition. Because we also don't know who is going to get story arcs in season 2. For all we know, like Tech and Rucker could not story arcs. What if we just go ahead and put Hunter, Tech, and Wrecker all on the B as like a nice middle ground?
I agree.
Because
Let's do that.
Tech's my personal favorite.
I don't dislike Tech or Wrecker. It's just that I feel like I don't have as good of a grasp on them maybe as like you two do versus like how I have maybe a bit of a different grasp like on Hunter. So like, again, I'm cool with that.
Tech I still need more of. Wrecker,
I love Wrecker.
Because of his interaction with... Yeah, just because of his interaction with Omega, I feel like we get like such a better grasp of who he is as a character.
And when his chip goes off, it's a tragic moment. And he is ashamed of it. Like, he doesn't even want to look Omega in the eye. Like, my thing with Tech is like, he's clearly, he's totally coded neurodivergent. I totally feel him on that one. It's all about like his actions, not his words, because his actions are very kind. And like how he treats Omega. And like, if you watch him in the background with Omega, like he's very aware of her and everybody else. So like, he is a person of actions, not words, which is where you need to watch him. And he's my personal favorite. I've always had like a soft spot for like geeky kind of nerd, like the nerds of the group. Those are always my favorite. So I'm totally cool for the time being putting them all three on a B.
Yeah, because I really do feel like season 2, we're going to get more of this. I feel like, like you guys were saying, season 1 was a lot about them just adapting to this new world order that they have to, new galactic order, I should say.
Yeah. What about Omega?
I love Omega so much.
I do too.
She's so precious.
I love her. I'm torn between S and A for different reasons, though.
Me too. I feel like he does get sometimes into the... She's a kid, and that's like her only characteristic.
Like they relied too much on that.
Yeah, but
I felt that in the first half, not so much in the second.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She's also having her Rapunzel moment of like, I've been stuck on this one water planet. Oh my god, sand. We got dirt.
Yeah, yeah. And it seems like from what little we've seen, again, I haven't had a chance to read any sort of interview or anything, or know really what's coming in season 2 outside of the trailers. But she seems to be taking a much more active role with the team, like Tech's teaching her things, which I love, like cute big brother, little sister moment. I'm like, go Tech. Teach her how to hack in those computers. Be a criminal. Love it. So
okay, putting her in A with Crosshair.
Because again, there's that potential for a storyline. Because I feel like what we're doing with the stands is like with Rex and Echo, they have very established storylines, narratives, and drives within Clone Wars 2 Bad Batch, whereas a lot of these are a lot of unknowns that we're basing this off of previous experience or storyline and the potential of what could be at this point.
Yeah, because like you were saying, like we could, with Rex and Echo, it's very easy. We can list like 5 descriptors of their personalities. The others, I feel like we're going to get there with season 2, but we're not quite there yet.
Looking at the next one, Cut LaQuane's a clear A or S. I will fight either of you.
Especially after him coming back in Bad Batch.
Oh, yeah.
Even before Bad Batch, Cut LaQuane was an A or an S. I will fight either of you.
Okay. We're putting A.
Father.
Because he was really him and Slick were the first ones to kick Rex on his character journey.
Okay, where would you rank Slick? Slick the clone who was giving information of interest.
Slick is so complicated.
He's so interesting.
Also,
and he's such an underrated clone.
They're also shocked that the character named Slick is a traitor.
I know. You're like, don't you guys name them after their personalities, basically?
Slick could be like, he could be like really good at like getting out of tight situations. Like, so maybe he's
Don't
like
be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Hey, I would put him Slick at a B because he is a very important character to kick off Rex's character journey for the entire show. I wish we had a follow-up. I'm also there's the fantastic webcomic that was about Slick, Dogma, and Ahsoka post Order 66.
Ooh.
And it was really good because I really dove into like Slick's character. But I don't justify him over a B because he's only in the one episode, but it's a very important episode for Rex.
I think it's important for Rex and it's important for the audience, especially if they're coming into it blind. Because they're like, oh, these clones are going to be more than just these multiple similar looking faces. There's going to be something here with them. Like that was like our first introduction of like something more is coming with this. And that was before like you knew like Order 66 and stuff, like outside of that. Like, oh, they have personalities and feelings about this.
Yeah, because like if you only really seen the movies and you see how they react to Order 66, you might think that they've always been programmed like that. They're always like obedient, which they have some programming, but it's not like chip programming, which we can talk about later. So are we thinking B?
I'm thinking B, yeah.
You guys changed my mind on him. I had him a lot lower initially when I was doing this, so
that's okay. Because at the beginning I said I wouldn't have any D's, and now that I'm actually like looking at this, I'm like, no, I might throw you two in the D and not sweat it.
So speaking of D's, we have Dogma, D for Dogma, who is, I think he's only in the bar.
Yeah, he's only in the Umbara arc.
Umbara arc, yeah.
And he's very true to his name because he's a very dogmatic character.
Yes.
Yeah, he really lives up to his name. He's worse than Echo was when we first met Echo.
Oh yeah, we thought Echo was like Mr. like must follow the rules, but
we thought Tech was the nerd. Echo was the nerd. He's like, I read all the manuals 5 times, you guys. Can I read them to you?
Like I read them to use them as the guidelines to know which rules I can break.
And Echo's like, the Dogma is follow all the rules no matter what, including Prague Krell, the Jedi General, who is like, I'm just gonna let all these clones die and also just murder a bunch of them and be like showing off for Sidious, be like, hey, want a new apprentice?
Okay, here's my thing on Dogma. I like his role in the story because he represents a very specific kind of person, which is people who like order and rules and therefore conformity is abused. Because he conforms to everything, which is actually a downfall. And there's a thing about conformity, which is if people want to put in like order and rules, it's a destructive thing. Rules are good to a certain extent, but you have to have a heart behind it. And so like Dogma is almost like the first look at the clones who follow the Empire willingly. Because like characters like Dogma is how fascism happens. By people who are like, I don't want to think outside the box. I like the safety of this. And I'm not going to let my worldview be challenged because this is my safety and this is my protection. And so like he has a very specific role in the Umbara arc because you have characters like Jesse and Fives and stuff like that just being like, we have to break these rules. And Dogma that's a fear for him. If rules are broken, he could be harmed. And he has to like play this very specific role, which is interesting because we don't get a lot of clones like him. That being said, I wouldn't put him higher than a B, but I also wouldn't put him lower than a B either because he has a very specific, unique role in the Umbara arc.
I agree. He's very much used as a contrast or even a reflection of Rex. Anakin says at the beginning of the arc, he's like, he reminds me of when I met you. Like, Rex was very much by the rules, but we see Rex through his journey and how he's changed. And yes, he does first just like been like, okay, Krell's a Jedi. We trust the Jedi. And then we have the more extreme case of Hardcase, Jesse, and Fives being like, screw the rules.
YOLO.
YOLO. Yeah, literally YOLO in Hardcase's face.
What if it's them just like rolling through the sky in their ships because they don't know how to hold it straight, so they just barrel roll through the sky.
a bunch of small children at that point is what's happening.
They're 10-year-olds, literally.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are 10-year-olds.
Straight up bunch of 10-year-olds.
10 to 13 tops.
Yeah,
10-year-old boys who have a shiny new toy.
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah,
What-
I do think he's very important, especially for that arc. And that arc is so
Mhm.
important because it's probably a huge change, a huge point for Rex.
Rex's most important arc.
Oh, yeah.
Because he goes straight into like the slaver arc right after that, where he is just like, look at me, I'm an individual. I'm not a Jedi.
Yeah. And then
Oh my
he
God,
even
I-
says, he's like, I forget where he said it, but he said at one point, like, I thought being a good soldier meant following orders. Like,
Yeah.
I can't remember when or where that happened, but I think that
think that's when
harkens
it-
back to this arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say B. That's my feelings. That's where I would put him, like a nice solid B, because he's not big to the overall, like, he doesn't come back and he's only in one arc, but he has a very unique and important role in that arc.
Yeah. And I think that arc is super important.
Yeah, I'm on
So we're
arc
saying
with that
B?
one.
Well, Fives. Fives is one of the Domino twins, they call him, or at least the fandom calls. I'm not sure if it's canon, but yeah, he's with Echo. We get his whole story of being a rookie to an ARC trooper. He is the one who discovers the chips before everyone else. And he is the reason that Ahsoka and Rex survive Order 66.
He's the second most important clone after Rex.
Yes.
You mean after Boba and Rex?
No,
In
the
the-
story of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
In Clone Wars, he's the second most important clone after Rex.
Yes. I love Fives.
He
He's
has
like,
to be an
I love
S tier.
he asked, yeah.
Okay.
I
He
was
has
like,
to be an
this
S.
is no debate here with any of us.
He
It
has
has
to
to
be.
be Fives.
I was like, okay.
Straight up Fives. I love
okay.
Fives so much.
Speaking of Fives and dying, I didn't actually say that, but I'm going to segue that into Fox murders him.
God.
Who he looked sad about it afterwards, which was
Sure.
D.
Oh,
D. Yeah, there's nothing to him. He is very popular in Archive of Pain, and I was trying.
See, that's part of the reason why I have like really complicated feelings about Fox, because he shot Fives, who is like out of all the clones, like Fives is my absolute favorite. The fact that like the Coruscant Guard, which Fox is a part of, was like basically manipulated by Palpatine
Yeah.
all throughout everything. Like, I have a lot of pity for that, because like they're stuck on Coruscant with all these rich snot-nosed senators where their brothers are out dying, and they're like,
Fine.
but
C.
yeah,
Because
I was
I can use at him like a Karen asking to speak to a manager.
Yeah.
There's a scene where like
Yeah.
Anakin is trying to see Ahsoka like in the jail
Yeah.
cell, and in the background he's yelling at Fox, and Fox is just like,
they're just they're just trying to do their jobs, and I feel so bad for all of them. Like,
Glenn and give him
okay,
a C
thank
because
you.
he does.
I would put him any higher though.
One of the troopers who's after Ahsoka during that arc too.
And again, he's just doing his job.
Again,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
he
the
doesn't have
fandom.
much of a choice.
Yeah, in the fandom, he is very popular with Padme.
Chi-Chi,
You.
yeah.
Ryo Chuchi,
Yeah, the
very popular
Cantoran.
with her.
Oh yeah, there's some.
I don't think
I
there's any
never thought
pieces
of
them
Fox
for-
and Rio before. Oh my
Oh my
god!
god, there's just fan stick and spicy artwork.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Because
there's some fan stuff.
like Rio is like one of my favorite Clone Wars characters.
Elephant
I
stuff.
love her, and I need to find that. Oh, boy.
Next is Greer, who is part of Luminara's battalion.
Isn't
And
Gree? No, isn't Gree Yoda's battalion?
he is in the Clone Wars? He is part of Luminara's.
Oh, that's okay.
Or when they have Newt Gunray, and he has.
I
some
had to-
stuff
I had to
with
look
the
him
Stoke-
up.
He left that much of an impression on me that all I
Yeah.
remember is that he is D for dead because Yoda kills him.
He's protect.
That's
I would put him C. I'm gonna say how funny it is rewatching like the Order 66 scenes and seeing like the way Yoda reacted to the clones, and he just like chops their head off, while Ahsoka's like, "What's wrong?" And like she is trying to like save her friends and not just like kill them.
yeah.
She
I
felt
mean,
everyone died, just like Yoda did too.
funny because like the very first arc of the series is Yoda's going, "You're all individuals. You're all like wonderful."
Yeah, he was like the
And then-
first one that introduced us to this.
And he's like,
Mhm.
"Nope." What do you feel about Gree? Because Hannah, because like I think he's deep for dead because the only important
I-
thing he does is lose his head.
I literally had to look up who he was because it's been so long. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, I like Yeah, D for dead. I'm sorry, Gree. Like, we love all the clones, but I'm sorry.
Honestly, I just needed someone to be in D, so I'm not going to argue. I like his
You
little talk
don't
with
need
Ahsoka.
someone to be in D. It's
Yes, we
okay
do.
if there's
Someone needs
not.
a D.
Nuh-uh.
Okay,
Gregor?
Gregor.
Solid A.
I just love
Solid
clone
A.
commandos. Like, I am so biased.
He has
Towards
one of
any of
the
them.
best arcs of
Oh, yeah.
from Clone Wars to his death in Rebels. Like,
Oh
he
my
is one
God.
of the best arcs.
Yeah. I really love Gregor just because he brought, like, again, his story arc was just freaking amazing. And he came in at the weirdest story arc in the Clone Wars.
It's the 100th episode. Like, that Gregor's episode is the 100th episode of the series.
Yeah.
It's a weird,
Freaking
that's a weird
weird.
arc. It's not one of my favorites, except when Gregor comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently George Lucas's favorite arc.
Yeah. I'm really hoping because of what we saw in Bad Batch that we're going to see Gregor again with the other clone commandos. And I swear to God, if they bring Delta Squad into canon, you will hear my scream. Because technically they said it wasn't, but I'm like, I will fight you all in this. I will fight the writers. Bad Batch. I would love to see more of Gregor in
I'm
Bad
about to
Batch.
talk about sandwich clone.
Yeah, it's okay. I thought Hope was serious in our group chat.
I
didn't really
in that shit.
Can I present him? Because he's...
Please do. Explain.
Please do this.
So this is Sandwich Clone. If you don't know what we're doing, just Google Sandwich Clone Wars and you'll figure it out. But what it is, it's in the arc where Obi-Wan Kenobi is undercover as the bounty hunter and he has like the face swapping technology and all that. As him and Cad Bane and what's his name? Moralo
Eval.
Yeah, that guy. When they're
Sorry.
trying to get out of the prison through like the crematorium shoots, they come out and the clones in the room are just like, oh, these people are still alive. Let's look at it. And they open the tubes and Cad Bane jumps out to attack them. And this guard, picks up his sandwich and throws it at Cad Bane. And as if that would work. And you know what? For that, he is a legend for throwing a sandwich at Cad Bane. I would put him at a solid B because he's only in the show for 15 seconds, but it is a memeable 15 seconds.
You know what? He reminds me of the other guard. He might be the same one. He might have gotten a promotion. The one who, when they release Zero, the Hutt.
Oh, it's the one who's like,
And-
oh my God.
Yeah, when Zero's like, oh my eyes. And you just hear under his breath.
What's that? It's Fox?
No, it was one of the Coruscant guards. I don't think it was Fox.
No, it wasn't
was
Fox.
just a guard. And it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that little touch.
They're just done with Zero too. They're like, oh my God, get him out, please.
Yeah, actually, yeah, let's trade him. I don't want him anymore. Wait,
No.
next we have a Hardcase who apparently grew so much in his tube, he cracked his growth tube.
Yeah, there is a crack in his growth tube. I feel like if I was ever a clone, I'd be Hardcase. Like, just little bouncy, just not all that smart all the time. Just, you know what? Let's do it.
himbo.
Another himbo. We love
Him and
love
Wrecker
himbo.
would get along really well.
Oh my God. That'd be so
They were
much fun.
PPNS.
And honestly, like him and Heavy are tied with like 99 with like most tragic clone deaths for me personally because they both sacrificed themselves in very similar ways. I didn't tell Hannah to put Heavy on there. You left off a Domino Squad member.
No, Candace.
Candace, sorry.
I was like,
Candace's face and like his name. I'm blaming both of you. Go down on middle class.
Sorry, Hannah, you got blamed with me.
oh, it's okay. I'll go down with you. It's fine. We'll just go down the ship together. It's fine.
Yeah, we're going down
Anyways.
with rear.
Hardcase. What was it? When is it? Live to fight another day.
Oh my God.
I gotta put Hardcase at an A.
Really? Okay.
Just tragic death.
Yeah.
No,
but
Heavy though.
Heavy is in the... I would put Hardcase and Heavy because Hardcase is Umbara. Like, he's the one that sacrifices his life at Umbara. And Heavy's the one that just sacrifices himself in Rookies. So Heavy is a Domino Squad member, and Hardcase is a 501st who's there throughout the end. He's the one that helps Jesse still the ships. And I would put them both as solid Bs. I think they both play a very similar
Important
role.
I
Yes.
would say Hardcase at A because I feel like Hardcase is, I know him better. Like,
Yeah.
I understand his character more. And I would say heavy B just because he's there just for a very short time.
But we wouldn't have Echo and Fives escaping with their lives without Heavy.
Same with Hardcase though. With Fives.
Fives, and Jesse would
Okay,
have
this
died.
is my domino card.
But I thought the domino card was to reject stuff.
No, it's
Oh, I don't know.
It's the only
Okay,
rule.
wait, okay, Hannah, where do you put Hardcase?
I was gonna put Hardcase at an A,
Okay.
but you all were trying to convince me to put him down at a B.
No, I wanted Hardcase.
I'm trying to convince you guys.
All right, cool. We'll put him at
Okay.
A.
Heavy, B or A? I say B.
I say B.
I'd say
Oh.
I say B, but I think Hardcase is too high. But I'll say B.
I don't know
Hardcase-
if I'm thinking of Hardcase because of Fick. Again, like, is it because of Fick? I feel like I know.
Honestly, the reason why I like Hardcase so much is because of Unbara. Like, he is
His
Yeah.
only arc.
I know, and but like what's heavy with, I just feel like
No,
and
his
like
only arc. What am I talking
No,
about?
he's in much more.
yeah, he's in the one where
It's just-
Rex gets shot and they meet Cut, and then
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, what's the impression?
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Then Hauser has to be an A.
I know. I love Hauser.
I love
He's-
Hauser.
Hashtag hot Hauser. He's beautiful. He's the reason that Hunter has an entire character arc in 2 episodes.
That's the reason Hera lives and we get Rebels.
He's also obviously having a threesome with Hera's parents. Like, that Hauser is a very important Bad Batch character, even if he never comes back. He's the reason everything happens from like the finale on. He's gorgeous, he's beautiful. He trended on Twitter because he's so gorgeous. Like,
You know what, Jess? That
He
was a
did.
day.
It's really like going back to Rebels and you like when Kanan's having issues with Rex. Hera's like, I remember when the clones were our friends and they
Mhm.
saved me.
And now
Hauser.
it's like you're just thinking of Hauser, and
And now Rex is part of her ghost crew.
oh yeah.
Do you guys think we're gonna see Hauser again?
Thinks I could see it, but maybe not season 2. I could see maybe like a later season.
Mhm.
He was such a big character to Hunter's personal arc.
And obviously the internet liked him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the internet loved him.
I could see him not could like they were. I could see like a situation where season 2 was, of course, already in production by the time season 1 came out, and then they were like, "Oh, we should bring Hauser back at some point." Probably season 3. I hope we get a season. I hope they don't resistance this show and only do 2 seasons.
Oh God, I'd be so upset.
I will be
That's
so
just-
mad.
I feel like they're setting up for like quote unquote clone rebellion. Like we've talked about this
Yeah.
a little bit, especially through season 1, but I feel like they're setting up for it. So it would make sense to have Hauser, who maybe was like that first like seed of rebellion with the clones and within the Empire. Like, hey, bring him back because he's got some sort of influence within the clone ranks. So it would make sense if they freaking drop it after season 2. I will riot.
I'm hoping at
Jesse.
least 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I feel like 3 is a very good solid thing for animation because you have the intro season, the Darker Middle chapter, the wrap up season.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the titles for season 2. I'm very scared that they're going to resistance this because Resistance should have had a 3rd season. Like it should have.
Oh yeah.
Jesse.
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 Okay,
Oh.
Jesse.
Jesse. I'm ready to fight you guys. Jesse.
No,
Jesse.
Wait,
Jesse,
do you
Jesse.
think Jesse's bad? Not like Jesse?
I love Jesse.
Okay, I
I
love
love
Jesse
Jesse.
too.
Jesse.
Why
Jesse.
are you talking about Jesse?
Okay.
Jesse's
Good.
amazing. At least A. Minimum A. I read especially season 7, the Mandalore arc. I feel like he's the fourth most important character
Mhm.
in that.
He's also one of the
after-
longest ones too, because he's been around since season 2. His first appearance, Cut LaQuane's episode.
Yeah.
And he's obviously very close to Rex. And Ahsoka too. In fact, like how he fights Maul's influence. He tried to at least during
Yeah.
season, and how loyal he is. And then we get to Order 66 and that chip just changed him completely.
He's also the one in the Umbara arc that's almost executed. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
That's fine.
Jesse's had it a little rough.
But
Because
Jesse,
he's one of those characters that's like, I don't think he's appreciated as much as he should be throughout like the Clone Wars. Like, yeah, like you see him like at the end of season 7, like you see his helmet at the end and you know who he is at that point. But like you said, like he's been around since season 2. And it's one of those things that like if you weren't looking, you'd miss it because he's like one of those like quiet, like background characters that just he supports like all of these other characters like Rex and like Fives to like help them on their journeys. But he has one too. Like he goes from like this shiny little rookie all the way to ARC Trooper. And like you said, like one of the most important people to Rex and Ahsoka near the end of the war.
Yeah.
So
And I always wondered about him because he has the tattoo of the Republic symbol on his face. And I always thought, like, man, when Order 66 happens, he's going to have to cover that up. But, like, that's why his death is so impactful because he also has the symbol of the Republic on his helmet. And it's one of the final images we see is his helmet, which is the death of the Republic. I love Jesse. Like, his death is the one that makes me cry every time I watch the finale.
especially when you have the burying the dead, like that whole soundtrack, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I just hear it and I just start crying.
I would put him, I will relent to an A, but
Okay.
I am A-S either. Hannah?
I'm an
I
A.
guess.
I'm an A on Jesse.
Okay.
I will agree with that.
I love Jesse. It's an A.
Okay. Next is Keeli, who I don't know if you guys remember this.
He's
But
the original Hot Hauser who dies with Master I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die. Yeah, quite literally.
Oh,
Listen on Rylots.
Jedi name ever. Ima
Wait.
Gundy.
Oh my God.
one of the reasons I put him on here, not just because he is Hauser's like predecessor, is because of his death and the
It's a
fight
good death.
it's a good death.
It's a good
He
death.
fights with his Jedi to the very end, and they're fighting for the people.
Mhm.
And it shows also how politics slowed a lot of things down, and it's just really tragic.
That's
Yeah,
one of
it
the
was-
Rylots arcs, isn't it?
Yeah, it was when I
So
was
it's
trying to
Sam's.
get.
I give him a nice solid C. I don't think
Same.
he's
Yeah,
the
he
one
was-
episode.
There's
He's
not
not
much.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But he's
He
gorgeous.
did
But I
become
feel like-
flanker bait.
Yeah, clanker
Which is
bait.
sad.
He was clanker
Oh.
bait.
It's so bad. I'm sorry.
He's so-
Beautiful. He was the most beautiful clone until like Hauser came along.
Oh, poor Keeli. He's like only second best now. Okay. So next we got Kix. Kix, who is the medic of the 501st, as
Oh
he
my God,
tells
that's
Rex.
a full-time job.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you? Plus Anakin and Ahsoka.
Oh my God.
Like
A tier.
That-
A tier for kids just for
A
that.
tier, yeah, because he.
Keeps everyone alive.
Yeah. After like Rex gets shot on what is the planet again?
Salukami.
Look at my yeah. And Rex is like, I'm fine. And he's like, no, I'm a medic. Now that means that I outrank you. It's like, you get it, Kix.
Yeah. And he has also the longest story of any of the clones. So
Yeah.
it's
He's the
It is-
only
only one
Okay.
that survived to the sequel trilogy.
that we know of. Yeah. I guess when you just try to figure out like when does sequel trilogy technically start, because Boga's
Yeah.
still kicking around, and we don't know if
Oh, yeah.
Mega's still kicking around too. But yeah, like I would put Kix in the A tier easily because he is probably one of the more unique clones. The fact that he's the only one that lives that long, the 2 sequel trilogy. I love Kix personally.
Oh yeah.
And like that story of the Crimson Corsair finding him, it's a really emotional story when he realizes like, oh, all my friends are dead and I didn't get to save Fives, and oh my God. I guess
Yeah, like I didn't.
I'm just gonna be pirate, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm putting this in A before like Hope loses it more.
I appreciate like
Just
the
acting.
501st. I appreciate his 501st attitude of like, I'm just gonna be a pirate because that just seems like the right thing to do for me.
Look at what
I will
Echo does. He's like, yeah.
I
I'll
will
be
So
on her
proud
list,
of
yes.
him.
I will
Yeah,
always
also
be
there's this-
forever upset and salty that in season 2 of Resistance, we got the Crimson Corsair and we didn't get Kix.
Oh
I
my
will
God.
always be forever salty. Even like Kix didn't even have to speak, but he could have been unloading the B2 battle droids. I am still forever salty that we did not get Kix in Resistance because he was alive. They found him by that point. He was there and he was on the ship of the Crimson Corsair. And I'm so mad. about
Okay,
what I
next
have to
is
say.
Top.
No, I'm still ranting. No, but is everyone cool with Kix being an A?
Yes, we love
I
Kix.
love Kix is also on the mission to save Echo too, right?
Yes, I just rewatched that episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
because him and
Yeah, he
Jesse
stays
start a
behind.
fight with Crosshair. Actually,
Which is-
I actually say that Crosshair starts a fight with Kix and Jesse.
And then Wrecker decides to try to choke Jesse.
Yeah. Hot. Anyway, Top,
But yeah,
I was going to say that, but
Top-
yeah, Top.
Top has fantastic hair. We have to give him that.
Top's the B of the 501st. He's the shiny.
Yeah,
He
he's the
is.
shiny.
And that's why it's so tragic, because he's the baby of the group.
He's
Yeah.
the one whose chip gets
Whose
activated.
malfunctions, yeah.
Yeah, malfunctions. Kills a Jedi.
Just straight up, point blank. You're like, oh, this just got real dark.
That's like
when that
he's kind
happened,
of like
in the Clone Wars, I was like, wait, what? How are they even doing like anything with like the chip in Order 66 now?
I remember that happened. I'm like, oh, is that happening?
I was like, is this an alternate universe?
I'm stuck here.
But oh wow, tragic. Of course, it was tragic.
Yeah.
I feel like,
And he's the one who's like, I'm finally free and like the nightmare's over. And I'm like, ugh.
and he's the baby. Like, that's the thing. Like, when we first meet Top in the Umbara arc, like, he's the shiny. And so, like,
Yeah.
he's around the rest of the 501st, and they're all just like, look at you with your shiny armor. And Top is actually one of the ones that, like, figures out how to stop Pong Krill. He's the one that
Yep.
figures out the vines. And he's just like, oh my God, okay, the baby of the group is going to do something. Oh God. And so, like, we first see him there. And then by the time we get to where his chip goes off, like, he's still like the baby of the group. And everyone's just like, oh, Top. And even Fives was like, Top's my best friend. So,
Yeah,
like,
I
his
feel
death,
like
like, really affects
Yeah.
Top, like Fives as well.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like after Echo died, maybe Five's like, he's like, okay, I'm going to take care of the shiny. Maybe he reminded him a little bit of Echo, or just was like, I'm going to watch out for my brothers because I couldn't watch out for Echo. And yeah.
Put him on a solid B. That would be where I put him.
Yeah.
A nice solid
B for baby. Okay. Last but certainly not least, Wolffe, a part of the wolf pack of
He's so
Clone
grumpy
Wars.
and hot.
And he rolls his eyes constantly. And then when he gets
his eye.
he's so yeah, like he has
Not a-
two modes. He has his Clone Wars mode where he's sassy, grumpy, and rolls his eyes and like just doesn't want to be there. And he sees C-3PO and has a connection and like doesn't want to be there. And then he has his Rebels mode where he's traumatic and suffers PTSD, but he's also lost like he's let's fight the Empire. Like, I don't care, I'm old. So like
grumpy grandpa energy.
yeah.
Even though he's 30.
He's like, that one got 39 to 30.
I'm in my 30s and I'm a grumpy grandpa.
And the other thing about Wolffe is we get to see a reaction of a clone who at least was part of Order 66, having gone through. And his reaction, especially we see Plo Koon, like obviously loves his troops.
Oh,
That
yeah.
episode with the Maleficent or
Yeah. He's one of
Malevolence,
the,
yeah.
Maleficent,
the other
where,
like long running clones.
And it's
Yeah,
very
where-
early on. Yeah.
where they're like, why would anyone try to save us? We're just clones. And Plo Koon's like, not to me. You're so more. Plo Koon's one of my favorites. So
Oh
I'm
my
always
gosh,
like very like,
Isn't the like
He's the dad. He's the dad of all the clones.
he's just,
isn't like
he like
when
he's on their art. They have like art of him with his
and I think like when you translate the Arabic, it's something like Plo's bros or something.
That's what it was like.
There's like the wolf pack and
Yeah. Shakti is clone's mom. Plo Koon is clone's dad.
Yeah. I'm torn between A and B. I'd be very comfortable with an A. The only thing I'm debating about a B is, does he have as much as someone like Gregor, like who's has that long term? He's in Rebels as well. That's where I'm trying to. But I'm very comfortable throwing him into an A tier.
Again, I think we're gonna see him. I think
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna see
feel
him
like-
in Bad Batch because we have at some point
We
we
already have
have to
Gregor.
see. We already have Gregor. We're gonna see Cody. We don't know what happens to him between this and Rebels, which I'm sure it's gonna
Yeah.
be horribly tragic, and we're all gonna cry.
it's like it. If you guys are like you guys are saying about like how this is going to be like the clones taking off and clones being like rejecting the Empire. Yeah, there's going to be this moment like Rex is on a mission right now to save as many brothers as possible. And I feel like, yeah, I think we're going to get Wolffe. And I would like to see more and see how his headspace is and how he was like, when he got to the state where he started to reject, like he was hiding all of Ahsoka's correspondence to Rex and hiding all of his to her to the point where like he knew Rex like was really good friends with her.
Like became
he
so
brought-
fearful. Yeah.
Yeah, so fearful and scared. And yeah, because like Rex obviously was like, where did she go? And getting to that point, I'm very intrigued. I hope we see it. So I think we should put him at B because he has a lot of potential.
I still feel like A might be solid. He's one of the longest
I
running
do too.
clones. He covers
Yeah.
some shows. Yeah, he doesn't have as much to do in Clone Wars because we're so focused on the Fiber first. We rarely spend a lot of time with other people. But I think with like Rebels, I could see him as like right up there with Gregor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
I
see
could too.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get more Gregor and more Wolffe, and they'll
God, I
be
hope we
in
get more
some
Gregor.
best mode.
So, how are we feeling about our list?
I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm honestly surprised we agreed as much as we did.
Hope and Hannah, thank you so much for joining me. And
Yeah.
yeah, we made the waffles be with you all.